I would like to talk to you about a story that is at the heart of our investment convictions as we seek to deploy capital in a rapidly changing world. At Lombard Odier, we believe three key systems define the relationship between our economy and the environment. Energy, today still dominated by fossil fuels, but essential to all physical processes. Land and oceans, under threat from deforestation and biodiversity loss, but vital for human life and food systems. And materials, an essential building block of our daily lives. Over the last 10,000 years, the role of these systems in our economy has been revolutionized countless times. We have transformed our agricultural systems. We have developed new energy sources and ways of harnessing them. And we have developed a host of new materials that have enabled technological progress. These successive revolutions have contributed to massive increases in energy and material productivity and agricultural yields. And it is this growth in productivity across these same three systems which has also helped to drive economic growth and prosperity. But at the same time, these three systems have also accounted for most of our economy's impact on nature. Energy dominates emissions. Our food system dominates water use, and our use of materials is responsible for most flows of waste. And as our economy has grown, so too has our impact, with uncontrolled rises in emissions, seismic losses in biodiversity, and escalating volumes of waste. Today, humanity itself has become the primary source of environmental change. We are breaching key boundaries, with levels of greenhouse gases in our atmosphere now at levels not seen in at least 800,000 years, threatening the stable conditions that have been at the heart of our economic prosperity. And unfortunately, climate change is not the only example. We have now breached the boundaries of at least 6 of the key planetary systems essential to the stability of our planet, risking catastrophic tipping points, but also setting in motion an inevitable policy and market response. This new planetary transition is now well underway and reaching an inflection point. While energy efficiency was the early focus, a series of interconnected technologies is now breaking through, accelerating one another and enabling a new energy revolution. A new agricultural revolution is getting underway, putting nature back into the center of the picture. And in materials, a resurgence of bio-based materials and leaner industrial processes is imminent. Now, past transitions tell us that industrial revolutions tend to follow a very familiar pattern, happening slowly at first, but then all at once, driven by cost reductions, economies of scale, and a rapid rise in acceptance of new technologies. Once again, new alternatives are emerging that are demonstrably superior functionally, environmentally, and economically. Once again, costs of these new technologies is falling, generally much faster than expected, outcompeting current options, breaking into mass markets. As a result, we again see these same trends emerging in the adoption of renewables, electric vehicles, or heat pumps. We are at a new inflection point, which will pass us by as investors if we wait too long. It is our investment conviction that these three key systems are once again being transformed. In energy, our fossil-based system will be electrified, powered by green renewables. In land and oceans, hundreds of millions of hectares will be returned to nature or restored through regenerative agriculture. In materials, policy action is already triggering a transition to a more circular and efficient model using very different materials. Policymakers are now recognizing the opportunity. From the US Inflation Reduction Act to the EU Green Deal, public and private spending is being redirected, driving trillions of dollars of investment and incentives. Dozens of carbon markets now exist, further tilting economics in favor of newer, more efficient alternatives. Carbon prices in Europe have breached €100 per ton, and carbon itself has already become a $1 trillion market. This decade, we expect nearly $3.7 trillion to be spent per year on the energy transition, on nature, and on materials. In comparison, this amount adds up to about the same amount of spending last decade on the software and hardware that drove the IT revolution. And in the case of that IT revolution, this spending shifted markets and radically expanded the share of IT in the real economy. Now, the clean tech revolution will be of a similar order of magnitude, shifting markets as we know them. In the $10 trillion energy system, responsible for most emissions, profit pools will shift from traditional energy to industrials, tech, power and transmission and the value chains that will electrify the economy. In our food system, another $10 trillion system, profit pools will shift from land-intensive, meat-based, sugar-based, intensive forms of production to plant-based, healthier, precision and regenerative alternatives. And in materials, a $5 trillion system, value chains will evolve from extractive, unrecyclable and wasteful models to models based on recycling, bio-based alternatives, tech-enabled and resource-efficient solutions. Cascading effects are accelerating the transition. Renewables are decarbonizing the power grid, benefiting all electric technologies. Batteries are scaling up and in turn improving the economics of the power grid. Hydrogen and ammonia, produced using green power, will emerge as a zero-carbon fuel, which will in turn transform industries ranging from steel to fertilizers and shipping, one change driving another. So transition investing for us has very little to do with traditional approaches to ESG. This is not about finding players that marginally outperform their peers, but about investable opportunities following from the profound transformation of our economy. And that is what is driving our conviction as an investment house.